Hi and welcome to my North Knit Corner. My name is Anne and I come to you from the south of Norway where I live with my husband and our 3 boys. This is my little corner of the internet where I talk about knitting and my knitting adventures. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome if you are here for the first time. I hope you like my content. Today I have a lot of finished objects, so if you want to skip ahead and are tired of it, I will have chapters or timestamps on my episode, so feel free. And I will also have information about everything I talk about in the description box below the episode. Before we start, I want to thank Anna in the Bluebird Box podcast and Ina in Ina Knits podcast. Both of them talked about me and my podcast in their episodes, and I just want to say thank you so much. I see that there are many people that have found their way to my channel, and I'm sure it's because of Anna and Ina. Thank you so much, both of you, for talking so nice and warm about my podcast. I get so touched, and I really appreciate it. So if you haven't seen Anna of the Bluebird Box or Ina of Ina Knits, check them out. Anna is a wonderful designer. She has designed so many beautiful things. I've knitted a few of them, and I'm going to show you some today. She's just a wonderful person, so check her out at the Bluebird Box. And Ina, she's a long-time podcaster. She's from Norway, and I'm sure you've seen her. But she knits the most lovely things and brings so much inspiration, and is also a wonderful lady. So check out Ina Knits if you haven't already. The first finished object I have is the Moonset tee, which I am wearing. It's designed by Osetta Haley's Medley. I have knitted this in Viking Bambino in the color light green. Viking Bambino is 50% cotton and 50% bamboo. And as I said in my last episode, I think this is my favorite summer yarn. It's so soft and airy and nice. I don't particularly like to knit with it, but I love the finished result. This is the color light green, yes, number 432. I have knitted the size small on 2.5 and 3 millimeter needles. It weighs 226 grams, so about 4.5 balls of yarn for this one. It's knitted in a lot of pieces, so it was a new construction for me. You also knit the button band, or not button band, neckband as you go. It's double knitting. It was a lot of fun. I like trying new things, so that was great. I tried it on. I didn't meet gauge per usual. I knew that I had to knit size small to try and get a size that I could use with the gauge I had. And I knitted it all. I did an I-cord and on the hem, which is what the pattern says, and I tried it on, and I wasn't happy with how it was because it was too wide. I felt like it was perfect around my bust, but it was too wide on the end. I didn't like it. So I ripped back like 3 centimeters. I did a round of decreases. I did about 20 decreases, I think, around. And I knitted a double knit ribbing on the hem. So I can show you. And as you can see, since I decreased, it goes in, and I quite like that. I'm really happy with how it is now. I also did double knitting on the sleeves. Yeah, and I'm happy with how it turned out, much more than I was with the I-cord. But I think that if I have knitted size down, and then the I-cord would be nice, because I think it looks very good on the pattern photo. So there might be another one soon. We'll see. But I'm very happy with how it is now. Yeah. So I think that's all I have to say about it. Very pleased with it. I also finished a headband with a twist. I don't have it here because I gifted it, so I can put up a picture. It's just cast on 40 stitches. I knit in around and I sew a twist at the top. I knitted that in Sandneskos, which is alpaca, wool and nylon blend, I think. It was in the color taupe 4342 on 5mm needles. It's a very quick and easy project, and it's very nice for a gift. Then I have finished a hat. It's of course a hat for my Christmas box. If you have been here before, you know I'm making a box of hats for Christmas. This one I have knitted once before. It's the calendar hat 2018. It's a pattern by Handmade by Mona on Instagram. And I've knitted this once before in the exactly same colors. But it turned out way too small, because I was going to be so smart that I took away some stitches to have a hat that fitted, because my experience was that these calendar hats turned out a little bit too big for me. So I was going to be smart, take away some stitches and knit it on smaller needles, and it turned out too small. But now I've knitted it again in the same colors, and now it fits me. Very cute hat. It's knitted in Rauma Finull, 100% Norwegian wool, in the color 406 blue, 473 heather and 401 nature. It's knitted on needles 3mm and it weighs 38.8 grams. So another hat for my box. Then I finished the Abydos top by Lily Kate France, or Lily Kate Makes on Instagram and Ravelry. The Abydos top is this one. Let me get it the right way. Yes. The Abydos top is knit in Dale Lille Lerke, or my version is knitted in Dale Lille Lerke. It's a merino cotton blend, and it's also knitted with Dale Tynn Kid Silk Erle, which is kid silk, in the colorway 4014 denim. Dale Lille Lerke is the color blue, 8150. So this is how it turned out. I had some struggles in the start of this one. I tried to understand how you knit the tucks or the wells. I didn't really understand what it said in the pattern. Normally I have no trouble with Lily Kate's patterns. I think they are really good patterns and it's easy to understand, but I had some troubles with this, maybe because it was the first time I did these kind of tucks. So I tried to find some YouTube tutorials or something like that, and I found one that matched up kind of with what it said in the pattern, so I went for that, and I think it turned out how it's supposed to. Hope so. It looks like it's supposed to, so I'm happy with that. It's knit on needles 3.5, 4 and 8 millimeters. The kid silk is knit on 8 millimeters. So that's kind of tough on the fingers with the thin yarn and thick needles, but it's just for a few rounds, so it went okay. It's the size 2. I was doubting if I was really happy with how it looked on me. I mean, it looks really good on everyone else, but I was a bit unsure. Yeah, but then I took some pictures the other day, and where I had this on with some summer pants, and I think it looks good. Yeah, it was good to see yourself, yeah, on a picture and see that actually it wasn't so bad. So I'm happy with this. It will be a nice piece for summer. So that's my Abydos top. My next finished object is Corn Cardigan by Rebecca Clow or the Creabea. I have been knitting this in drops bomull lean. It's cotton and linen. I've knitted in the color black, which is number 16, and here it is. I will try to show you as best I can. So I have shamelessly copied Francesca in an Italian knitter podcast. I saw her version of the corn cardigan, which is a long cardigan in Sanneslina in this most beautiful color, which I thought looked so good. I had this drops bomull lean in my stash. I bought it several years ago on sale. I wanted to try it, so when I saw that they had this for, I think I paid 10 kroners a ball. That's like, it's about $1. It's more than that right now because the Norwegian currency is not so good these days, but back in the day it was $1. Yeah, so it wasn't a lot, and I bought 10 balls because that was one more time. I bought 10 balls of this yarn because that was what they had left, and they only had it in black because it was like a bin of yarn that they were going to sell out. So I just had to take what they had, and I wanted to try it, so I thought it was a very good idea to buy. And it's just been staying in my stash ever since. But when the corn cardigan came out, I thought that maybe I can use that yarn for corn cardigan. And if I had gone out to buy yarn for this cardigan now, I would have chosen a different color. But since I had the black yarn and everything, I went for that, to use stash. I was very good. Yeah, I knitted the size 2 on 4 and 5 millimeter needles. I've knitted it long, as I saw the beautiful cardigan to Francesca. I knitted the V-neck and the short sleeves. So I used 470 grams, that's what it weighs, so it's about 8 balls and a little bit more. So I didn't get to use up everything. You knit the cardigan bottom up, so I was afraid to run out of yarn knitting the top and the sleeves of the cardigan. So I could have knitted it longer, but I'm happy with the length, so it's okay. I can find something else for the rest of the yarn, or yeah. But I'm happy I got to use a lot of it. I don't recommend the yarn. I don't like it at all. The drop spummelin was really tough on my fingers, and it's so splitty. It's like sometimes when I knitted, I only had like a thin thread of the yarn over my needle, because I would split it in 5. Yeah, so it was really frustrating to knit with. The cardigan turned out really great. I think it's a great sturdy cardigan, which I'm going to get a lot of use out of. And the pattern is wonderful, but the yarn was terrible to knit with. So I'm not going to use that yarn ever again, I think. I want to knit another corn cardigan at some point, and I think I'm going to use Sunnesline or something like that. Sunnesline is also very splitty, but not like this. This was just awful. But I'm happy with the result. Yeah, so looking forward to using this cardigan this summer. Yeah. The next one is also a summer tee, and it's the Salty Air tee, which I have here. Yes, I have knitted the Salty Air tee in size 3. It's a design by Samantha Gurin. Beautiful design. Yeah, knitted the size 3 on 3 and 3.5 millimeter needles. I've knitted in a thin sock yarn from Garnbutikken Fortuna, a Norwegian hand dyer, in the colorway Antique, which is a really beautiful color. I alternated the yarn between 2 skeins. It got kind of stripy anyway, but I think it's okay. I don't mind. This lace pattern was so much fun to knit. I really enjoyed myself knitting this. I did get gauge on this one, so yay! But I think it's a bit too wide for me anyway. I did try it on as I was knitting, and decided to decrease a few stitches in each side a few times, evenly down, but and I'm happy I did that. But I still feel it's a little bit more wide than I could want. I really like the picture that is on Ravelry with how it sits on the model there, and that was what I wanted. But I went for the size recommended for me, and I think it's just a little bit too much. The recommended ease, I think, is 5 to 10 centimeters, which I have in this one, but I think maybe I could have had gone for a size smaller. But if I knit it again, I will go for a smaller size. But I am happy with it. I do think it looks good. It's just a little bit more positive ease than I would like. Yeah, but that's okay. I think it's beautiful, and it was a lot of fun to knit. Yeah. Then I also have one more summer top because I'm in the summer mood. Today is the 1st of June and the first summer month, and I'm ready for sun and for warmth, and I want to knit all the summer tops. So I've knitted the Mala top. It's a fairly new design by Anna in the Bluebird box. Here it is. Really beautiful design. I've knitted this in Sandnes Line, which is cotton, viscose and linen. I knitted in the color 8561, which is dark green. It was leftovers, or I can't call it scraps because it was whole balls of yarn, but I had four balls of yarn left after I knitted my Felsparty by Hannah in Herb Garden Knitwear, so I had enough to knit this one as well. Yes, I knitted the size 1 on needles 2.5 and 3 millimeters. The reason I knitted size 1, it's not the recommended size for me, but I didn't get gauge on this either. So that's why I went for size 1. I knitted the whole thing. I tried it on during the knitting, but and I felt it was perfect again over the bust, but too wide from around my waist. So I did also decrease a few rounds on the sides when I knitted it to try and see if that could make it more fitting. And I finished the whole thing. I tried it on, and it looked okay, but it didn't have the look I wanted. It didn't have I think it's supposed to have some negatives. I can't remember how much, but it wasn't like I wanted it. It was a little bit too loose. So since I have a lot of knitting time and it went by really quickly, it went so fast to knit this, I decided to rip it back. I ripped back to the straps where you're starting to, or you're connecting the body, and I didn't do any of the increases that the pattern says to do. I just omit them because I did knit size 1. So I just didn't do any increases in the rest of the body. And it actually turned out perfect. So I'm really happy with how it is now. I'm very happy that I ripped back and knitted the body again. And this beautiful structure pattern is so much fun to knit, so I didn't mind doing it one more time. Yeah, it's very easy to learn, and yeah, I had a lot of fun knitting this twice. I got a lot of joy out of the yarn and out of the beautiful pattern to Anna, so I highly recommend it. And it's also going to be a very nice piece for my summer wardrobe. You might think that I don't have anything on my needles because I'm done with so many things. But of course, I have a lot of things on my needles. Yeah, the last few weeks I really wanted to cast on all the things, and I'm so eager to start on new things. One thing that I've had on my needles for a while is the Garti, also by Anna in the Bluebird box. I'm done with the cardigan. It's on the blocking mat. I'm done with one of the collar bands. It's not a button band, but collar band, I think. Yeah, you're knitting 2 of those, so I'm on the second one now. It's in brioche, and it takes a little bit of time. I'm not going to show you the cardigan today because it's on the blocking mat, and I want to talk more about it in maybe next episode it's done. Hopefully, we'll see. I've at least had a lot of fun knitting it. You knit it with, or you can knit it with scraps. That's what it's the thought behind the design. And I've done that, and it's a lot of fun. So I will show you that when it's done. Then I have also on my needles a new Christmas hat for my box. It's another calendar hat by Handmade by Mona. I tried to knit through all of those because I don't know how many years she has done this kind of advent knitting calendar, but it's been a few years, so I think maybe it's 4 or 5 hats. It's fun, and now I'm knitting through them through the year. And this is the calendar hat 2019. Here it is. I can try to show you, but it's so bounced up on this. It's really nice. And I get to practice my color work, which is great. I knit this on 2.5 and 3 millimeter needles. It's Rauma Finull, which is what I use for these hats. It's the color 452 gray and 486 dark olive. Yeah, it's not so much to say about it, but it's going to be another nice Christmas hat. And my youngest son's teacher is having a baby, so of course we want to give the baby something. So I cast on the Little Brothers Romper by Petite Knit, which is a really great little pattern, perfect for baby gift. So let me see if I can show you. Here it is. I'm going to have a few nice buttons here, and I just have to knit the back, and then I'm done. Goes by really fast. I'm knitting the size 6 to 9 months, but I haven't gauge swatched, so but it will fit the baby at some point. I'm knitting in Drops Soft Tweed in the color Marchpan, which is number 2. This is leftover yarn from my Cœur sweater. I had 3 balls left because I seem to buy more yarn than I need. But it's nice to get to use it in another project, and it's so soft and nice, so hopefully it will be nice for a baby's garment. I will have 1 more ball left when I'm done with this, so my thought was first to knit another romper in the smallest size, just so for fun. But I will see, or maybe I will knit a hat or some booties, or we'll see. I don't know. But I really enjoy knitting this one. It goes by really fast and it's a nice gift. My next cast on, I just had to cast it on. I've been waiting for the pattern to come, and it's an Italian summer scarf by Francesca in an Italian knitter podcast. She made this beautiful summer scarf, which is I can't say that word. It's too difficult. It was really kind of her to make it a free pattern on Ravelry. Yes. So check it out. I'm sure you've seen her beautiful scarves in her podcast. She has knitted her scarves in Sandnes line, which is a beautiful summer yarn. I've knitted mine in yarn from a Norwegian hand dyer called Mrs. Fox yarn in her thin shawl yarn base. It's very, very nice. It's so soft, but it's really thin. It's 600 meters per 100 grams. I can't remember the content of this yarn. But I knitted my Sora top from Anna Daku in this yarn. So I've said the content in another episode, but I can't remember. But it's really soft and nice. I'm knitting on 2.25 millimeter needles. And it is hard on my hands, or it's not. I get some pain when I knit with this thin yarn and these needles. But I knit a few rounds each day because I really want to knit this summer scarf in this yarn. As I said, it was left over after the Sora top, and I really want to use it. So yeah, it's thin. Sandnes line is thicker, but I think you can just choose whatever yarn you want to use. And you go with the needles you need, and yeah, it's very easy, fun pattern, and you knit, you increase until you have half your yarn left, or until you're satisfied with how long it is, and you're starting to decrease. So perfect. I really enjoy this little project. Even though it hurts my hands. But that's not the pattern's fault. That's just the yarn and needles. But I think I'm going to be really happy with the finished project. Yes. So take a look at an Italian summer scarf on Ravelry if you haven't already. I have my note on what round I am on, so I need this one, so I know that. My next project is a sweater that's been really popular the last few weeks here in Norway. Most Norwegian podcasters have cast this on and knitted this, and a lot of people on Instagram as well. And I really understand why. It's called Wilfreda. And it's this beautiful sweater. It's designed by a Norwegian designer called Thanx. This pattern has been compared to Ranunculus and Love Note. And I really understand why, because it's knit on 6 millimeter needles, and it has that same fit, if I can say that. I really love my Ranunculus and I love my Love Note. They really fit so good, and this has the same fit or same vibe, or I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like the Ranunculus and Love Note. It has this nice twisted, I can't remember what it's called again. Sometimes words just disappears. It has a nice structure pattern. With these beautiful twists. You need like or you don't, if you're good at because I want to call this braids, but I know it's not the braids, it's another word. Cables. There it was. So I use the cable needle. I'm sure someone can do without. So it's just a couple of rounds you need it. I thought it was a bit fiddly to do the cable round, but it's worth it, and it's just for a couple of rounds, so it's not a lot. And except for that, I really enjoy knitting on this one. I can tell you about yarn maybe. The yarn is from my advent that I had in 2022, last Christmas. It's from Through the Wardrobe Yarn. She had a calendar called In December We Wear Pink. And I use half, it's a pink fade, and I use half of the fade in my sorrel. And I had half of the fade left from day 14 to 24. I had fade left. So I was supposed to knit a ranunculus in that, but I decided to go for this Wilfreda sweater. And the pattern is in English also. So if you want to knit this, you have the chance to. And I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, so it's a fade, and together with it's sock yarn, 80%. Oh, I think it's 75-25 base. I knit this together with Dale Tynn Kid Silk Erle in the color 4040, which is light pink. Yeah. I'm going to start ribbing, and then I'm done with the body, and the arms are yeah, I'm unsure if I'm going to have them 3/4 lengths or longer. Yeah, we'll see how it turns out. But it's really fun, and it goes by really fast, just like Ranunculus and Love Note. They knit up so fast, so it's a lot of fun. Twisted stitches in the ribbing, no, in the ribbing as well, but at the neckline, and it's just perfect. I really enjoy this, and I have plans for another one. And a lot of the people who have knitted one of these, I have knitted 2 or 3 or 4, so it's addictive, just like Ranunculus and Love Note. I think I said everything I wanted to say about it, but as I say, it is also in English, so I highly recommend it. Okay, I have just one more thing on my needles, and I cast it on Tuesday. Today is Thursday. It was pattern that I was gifted so kindly from a knitting friend, and it's the Girlfriend cardigan. It was an ebook with 3 different patterns in it, 3 different cardigans from 3 different designers. I chose the cardigan from Ankestrikk because I really like that. So this is how far I have come. This is the inside. So not so far, as you can see. I'm knitting this in Drops Flora and Dale Tynn Kid Silk Erle. Drops Flora is wool and alpaca. I'm knitting in the color 4, medium gray, and this one is 4002 in the color gray. You see that it's kind of light, so you get this marled effect in the fabric, which I really like. So this was a new construction again for me. You start with an I-cord and you pick up stitches in the I-cord and you start knitting. So my camera just told me that my disc was full and the recording stopped. So now I have deleted some things. Hopefully it will be okay. I don't remember what I was talking about. I think I was saying it's knit top down. It has German short rows in the neck. Yeah, so that is good because I like to have some more fabric in the back. So I'm looking forward to continue knitting on this one. It's going to be a very comfy, nice, cozy cardigan. So I'm excited to knit more on this. And that is all my whips. In my last episode, I said that I was going to a knitting festival. There was a knitting festival locally, and it was the weekend when my son had his confirmation, so we had a party on the Saturday, so I couldn't go then, and I wanted to go on Sunday, but when I woke up on Sunday, my body was not working. I was so exhausted, and I just understood that I didn't have a chance to go. That would be a little bit reckless of me because I would probably be bedridden for a few days if I did that, so I didn't want to do that. But I was really sad to miss out on the knitting festival because it looked a lot of fun. I saw a lot of pictures on Instagram and I had plans to buy stuff for things I want to knit. So I felt so sorry for myself. So it's been some buying of yarn in my local knitting shop instead, which it's always nice to support the local yarn shop. My plan is not to buy yarn, or to try not to buy yarn when I'm not at festivals this year, but I had plans to buy yarn for things I want to knit for summer, so I bought some yarn. And I can show you if you want to see, if that's your jam. If not, you can jump to something else, or we can say goodbye and thank you so much for being here. But if you like to look at yarn like I do, then you're so welcome to stay. I want to knit another moonset tee. I want to knit a size down, and I want to knit with the I-cord hem. So I bought some Viking Bambino, which is the same yarn I used for this, in another color. It's the color 415. I don't know the name of the color, but it's kind of bluish gray, I think. Yeah. It's so many beautiful colors in this yarn, so I had a really big... One more time. I had some trouble to choose color, but I ended up with this one. So I hope that will be good. Hope to knit it fairly soon, but there are some things that I want to knit before I knit another one of these. And then I got some yarn for... the Seaborn Tee by Hannah in her Garden Knitwear. A while back I went to a knitting cafe, we call it, a knitting gathering at my local coffee shop. I was so lucky to win a knitting kit for a bucket hat. I think that's what you call it. And there were 4 balls of this yarn in this bag. It's the Rauma Pellini. It's 50% Pima cotton. Let me see. I think it's linen, the other half. How hard can it be to find it? It doesn't say. Ah, there it is. Yeah, 50% Pima cotton and 50% linen in a white. And I got 4 of this. And I knew I didn't want to knit the bucket hat, so I went to my local yarn shop, which was where I got this from, and asked if they had more of this yarn. And they did, on sale even, and the same dye lot and everything. So I bought 4 more. So I have 8 of these, and I also bought this green color in the same yarn. And I don't know the color name, but it is 4801. So this is going to be the stripes in my Seaborn tee. So I think that's going to be lovely. So I think that's my next cast on, maybe this weekend. And also, there is coming out a new beautiful summer top this weekend, I think, from Anina in Ani Uti Knits. It's the Thanx tee. And ever since she showed it on her podcast, I really wanted to knit it. So I got some Sunne's for that. So I'm ready to cast on when it comes. They had a big basket of yarn at the yarn shop that they were selling out for 50% off. And in there was some Sunne's. I found this beautiful color. And I really wanted to make the Thanx tee in this one, but they only had 3 balls, so that was not enough. But I still got the 3 because maybe I can make a singlet or camisole or something that doesn't take too much yarn. But they also had another color in Sunne's, which there were more than enough of, and it's this color. This is the 4234. It's not the color I would choose if I would buy the yarn on full price, which I could have done. But I'm knitting so many summer tops this year, so I felt good about buying it on sale. And I don't mind this color. I think it's fun to have different kind of colors for my summer tops. So this is my Thanx tee. Yeah. And that's everything I have been buying. I want to buy some yarn for the Petal Party Crop by Samantha Görin, but I haven't found. I want that on the picture, pattern picture. There's a beautiful blue one, and I really want that color, and I haven't really found the perfect, or I think I found the perfect color, but the hand dyer that has that yarn, she's out of that color right now, so we'll see. But I don't need more yarn. I have enough to knit right now, and we'll see when I get to knit that Petal Party Crop, but I really want that too, so we'll see. Today is the 1st of June, so it's time for a summary of May. I have an annual plan with where I've written every plan that I've had for the last few years with yarn that I still have in stash and things I haven't knitted yet, because I try to knit through it this year. I have a lot of things left on my plan because I do tend to knit new things, which is okay, but I just like to have an overview of what I have and try to knit through some of it. I have knitted 3 things from my annual plan in May, and that's the calendar hat 2018. It's the Abydos top, and it's also the Koran cardigan. The Koran cardigan was the Koran cardigan, maybe is correct. That was of course not released when I wrote my plan for the year, but the yarn, the Drops Bommelin, was on my plan. So I just written the Drops Bommelin, and the pattern was just open. So it's still on my plan. So I've done what I was planning, knitting up some of those yarns. And then I have of course knitted a few things that was not in my plan, but that's okay. I've knitted the Mala top, which, in my defense, not that I need to defend myself, but it was yarn that I had left after my feldspar tea. So it feels good to knit up that yarn. And also not on my plan, and with the new yarn, is the Moonset tea. It's the Salty Air tea. Yeah, so those are the things that I've knitted in May, or I finished in May. And I've knitted 1,208.5 grams in May. So that's how I'm looking with my annual plan. Yeah, I could do better, but I am really happy with just trying to get through some of those things. And if I don't get to knit it all this year, it will just follow me in the next. But I try, I really do. I have a couple of podcast recommendations for you today. The first one is Brit in Brit Strikkenerd. If I translate that, it's Brit Knitting Nerd. She's a Norwegian podcaster. She has had a podcast for several years. I really enjoy her episodes. And she just made her first episode in English. So check out Brit Strikkenerd. She's a wonderful lady. She lives on a farm by the sea where she has wild sheep, and the wool from the sheep she also sends to a mill that makes it into beautiful yarn. So that's a lot of fun. And it's so idyllic where she lives, and she knits with a lot of color, and she's a wonderful person. So I highly recommend you check out Brit Strikkenerd. I will write it on the screen so you can find her. And I also want to link her English episode below so you can find her there. And I also want to recommend the podcast The Fruitful Hands. It's a mother-daughter duo. It's Diane and Katie, 2 wonderful ladies that they have had a few episodes now. It's pretty new, but it's just, I really love the connection they have. It's so warm, and they are so funny, and they knit beautiful things. It's a lot of inspiration to be found there. And when I watch them, it's just like knitting with friends. Yeah, so I highly recommend The Fruitful Hands as well. And I will link their podcasts below, of course. Okay, I think it's time to wrap up this episode. If you are still here, thank you so much. I am so thankful for all of you who wants to join in my knitting chats and all my rambling. So I highly appreciate all of you. I'm so thankful for all your comments, for your likes, and for all of you who subscribes. If you are not subscribed yet, you're so welcome to. It really helps out my channel, and I can reach more people with my knitting joy. And I always love to share my knitting with more people and get to know more people, because through this podcast I really have gotten so many beautiful knitting friends around the world, and I consider you all my friends. And so thank you so much for letting me chat about my knitting to all of you. I so much appreciate it. I hope that you are well, that you are knitting on something you love, or crocheting or sewing. Yeah, whatever. You do whatever you love, and take care of yourself, take care of the people around you. In this world we are living in, it's so important to take care of each other and encourage each other and be kind to one another. Yeah. And hopefully I will see you again very soon. I hope it won't be a month, just a couple of weeks. That's my goal. We'll see. Until then, take care of yourself. And happy knitting, everybody. Bye.